The moment the announcement echoed through the crowded airport terminal, tension filled the air. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 342 to Washington, D.C., is overbooked. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. Groans and sighs rippled through the restless travelers. Among them sat Senator John Kennedy, reading through a stack of briefing notes with his usual calm, his ticket for first class neatly tucked in his jacket pocket. But fate had a way of rewriting even the most carefully planned journeys. Just a few seats away, Karoline Leavitt, a young rising political voice, looked visibly shaken. Her ticket had been unexpectedly bumped due to the overbooking error, and now she stood at the counter, pleading softly with the agent. "Please, I have an urgent meeting tomorrow. I can't miss this flight." The agent shook her head with that apologetic but firm look every frequent traveler knows too well. Karoline's shoulders dropped, her eyes flickering with frustration and quiet desperation. John Kennedy noticed. He wasn't the kind of man to overlook someone struggling, especially a younger person trying to make their way in the political world. Without hesitation, he folded his notes, stood up, and walked toward the counter. His voice, steady and confident, cut through the noise. "Give her my seat." The agent blinked, surprised, but quickly nodded and switched the tickets. Karoline's eyes widened. "Senator Kennedy, you don't have to," she began. "I do," he interrupted with a gentle smile. "This seat will do more for you tonight than it will for me. You go ahead. I'll manage." Karoline was speechless, her gratitude plain in her expression. The first-class ticket now in her hand felt heavier than paper, it felt like a gift of faith. She thanked him quietly, and though John shrugged it off like it was nothing, everyone nearby noticed the selfless gesture. Hours later, as the flight soared through the night sky, something unbelievable happened. Midway through, the captain's calm but urgent voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a medical emergency on board. If there is a doctor or medical professional among the passengers, please make yourself known." The cabin buzzed with alarm. A passenger in first class had collapsed, and panic spread as crew members rushed forward. Karoline, sitting just a row away from the commotion, instinctively stood. Though not a doctor, she had trained extensively in first aid during her years of community service and political outreach. She knelt by the passenger's side, listening to instructions from the flight attendants, helping steady the man until oxygen was provided. The minutes dragged like hours, but under her calm guidance, the passenger stabilized. What no one knew was that the man whose life she had helped save was an influential philanthropist, one whose support could change the course of many young leaders' careers. After landing, he insisted on meeting the young woman who had acted so quickly. Karoline introduced herself humbly, crediting the teamwork of the flight attendants, but the man's gratitude was unwavering. He promised to support her efforts, offering resources that could amplify her voice far beyond what she had imagined possible. Meanwhile, John Kennedy, sitting quietly in coach, heard the news as the flight attendants whispered it down the rows. He smiled faintly to himself, shaking his head. He hadn't given up his seat expecting anything in return, but seeing how that single act of kindness had led to a chain of events that could impact lives far beyond that airplane, it humbled him deeply. When they landed in Washington, Karoline sought him out immediately. "Senator, I don't even know what to say. Because of you, I was there. Because of you, I had the chance to help. And because of you, an opportunity I never dreamed of just opened." Kennedy placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Karoline, sometimes the smallest decisions create the biggest ripples. I just gave up a seat. You saved a life. And maybe, in time, you'll change even more lives than you realize." The story of that night spread quietly but powerfully. It wasn't just about a senator giving up a first-class seat or a young leader stepping up in a crisis. It was about the unexpected ways kindness multiplies, how one act of humility can spark a chain reaction that reaches further than anyone could predict. The lesson was clear: greatness doesn't always come from grand speeches or sweeping victories. Sometimes, it comes from the simple choice to put someone else first, trusting that the rest will unfold in ways beyond imagination. And for John Kennedy and Karoline Leavitt, that flight became more than a journey across the sky. It became a reminder that in a world of ambition and struggle, humanity and compassion remain the truest measure of leadership.